Thank you, Jessica, for joining us.
Yeah, sure. I'll click go now and then I'll disappear from this channel, but
Thank you and welcome. Thank you everyone for joining us and good afternoon. It's from good old Beaverton, Oregon. Today we're honored to host Washington County Business Recovery Center grant and marketing expert Kathy Bazan from the Tualatin Business Recovery Center. This presentation will be recorded and later available via Impact Beaverton YouTube channel as a resource for small businesses. We also will make the Spanish audio available through our talented interpreter, Jessica Dover, joining us today. Thank you, Jessica. And after the presentation, we will open up for Q&A. Please put your questions on the chat box and we will do our best to address every one of them at the end of the presentation. And if you have a pressing question, you can just interrupt us and raise your hand. Gustavo with me is managing the admit all. Thank you, Kathy, and welcome.
Thank you, Emma. Thank you so much for inviting me to present today. What we're going to be talking about is how to communicate with kindness. A number of years ago, there was a movement to use the word mindfulness wherever it needed to be used. And mindfulness meant being aware of what you were eating, what you were doing, rather than just mindlessly doing things. So what we're going to talk about today is mindful communication, being aware of what you're saying and how you're saying it, because people will interpret what you're doing, maybe not the way you meant it. Okay. So Emma and I are both with the Business Recovery Centers in Washington County. We provide business counseling on things like writing a business plan, doing financial projections, social media, and marketing. Ask us any question. Our services to you are free of charge because we are paid for by a grant. I am Kathy Bazan, small business coach. I'm down in Tualatin. Emma's up in Beaverton. Since 2014, I've helped business owners gain access to over $22 million in grants and loans. I have won both state and national Small Business Administration awards for the economic impact that I've been able to generate. I am a published author, and so as a wordsmith, I'm coming to you today. If you remember the movie Bambi, there was a cute little rabbit in there by the name of Thumper. Thumper, at one point in the movie, said that his mother had taught him a very valuable lesson. If you can't say something nice, don't say nothing at all. And many of us were raised with that. When I was about 4, my mother sat me down because I'm an only child. I was about to spend the afternoon with my 2 cousins who were a year and a half older and a year and a half younger. So she was counseling me on what kinds of things I could say to them that were acceptable in the framework of the family. So I was told if I really got upset at my cousins, I could say, be quiet, but I was not allowed to say shut up or anything like that. Well, at one point, driving back from the beach, my cousin Jan was next to me in the car. My mom and my aunt were in the front seat. Jan said something that upset me, and nobody to this day remembers what Jan said. But my mom and my aunt heard me in the back seat sputtering. I was mad. I couldn't find the words that I needed. And finally I said, Janny, you're extinct. I figured if it was bad enough for the dinosaurs, it was bad enough for cousin Jan. And by the way, I did not get in trouble for it. It's actually used as the biggest put down in our family, even to this day. But I was able to communicate my anger. So that kind of communication changed when trophies for everything became a trend, participation trophies specifically. Whenever a child was given a trophy for participating, but not necessarily winning, that concept that all ideas were equal bloomed. As a result, people feel that they have a right to tell you what they think, whether it possibly hurts your feelings or not. So, this was what changed the way that we communicate with each other. What we have to realize is that our words, the words we speak every day, have the power to hurt or the power to heal. Cher, in one of her songs, had the lyrics, "Words are like weapons, they wound sometimes." And I think every single one of us can relate to that. Either we've been wounded by somebody else's words or we've done the wounding, but words also have the power to heal. I myself would gracious be, and with words that help and heal, Christ's own gracious spirit speak. That's from a hymn called Gracious Spirit. It was written in 1855, and many of us who went to Sunday school learned to sing that hymn. So our words, if carefully chosen, have the ability to heal situations. How do others perceive us because of the words that we use? According to LinkedIn, each one of us speaks an average of 7,000 words a day, whether that's in English, Spanish, Chinese, a combination of those, but we're speaking a lot of words. With your words, you leave an imprint on the world, which defines how others perceive you. So I just want you to think for a minute. How did you use your 7,000 words yesterday? How many of the words you spoke had a positive difference to those who heard you? How many words hurt those who heard you? Could you have changed any negative, hurting words into positive, healing words? How many words served little or no purpose? We're all guilty of that one. Here's the important part. The ratio of positive to negative words actually changes your perception of your environment. According to the Harvard Business Review, it takes 6 positive statements to outweigh the damage done by just one negative statement in the workplace. Constructive criticism, even though it's supposed to be constructive, is often perceived as a negative statement and falls into that 6-to-1 ratio. We all need to be aware of this. Whether we're talking to the administrative assistant or the CEO, we need to be aware of this. When I was a career counselor, I would say to the people who were doing the hiring and expecting somebody to come in for an interview, I would say, post somebody where they can see the parking lot. Find out how this person drives. Do they rush into the parking lot like Mario Andretti and, slam their car into a space? Or are they driving politely? Then ask the receptionist downstairs in the main lobby, how did this person treat you? If that person treated the administrative assistant as though they were some ignorable flunky, I made the recommendation not to hire, because if they would not treat that person with respect, what other folks in the company would they not treat with respect? Okay, just to let you know. What's interesting too is that the ratio of positive to negative statements actually can predict whether or not a marriage is going to be successful. If there are 5 positive statements for every 1 negative, the marriage will last. So similar to the ratio we see in the workplace of 6-to-1, in the home, it's 5-to-1. Just be aware of that. Unless, of course, you want to get rid of your spouse, but we won't go there. Okay, if you have not seen this skit on Saturday Night Live, you may want to go to YouTube and watch it afterwards. It's called Peloton, And it's a bicycle, that has one of those screens on it with the person who says, you can do it, go up the hill, go faster. Except they rewrote the script so that the person who's talking to you is talking down to you. The whole time you're exercising, your leader is talking about his grandmother could go faster than you are. It's just one put down after another for people who need more negativity, I guess. Anyway, just remember, it takes more positives to outweigh the negative. Even with multiple positive statements said to us, our minds can still focus on the negative. If you ever saw the movie Pretty Woman, you'll recognize this exchange. Edward Lewis, our protagonist, our hero, says at one point to the heroine, I think you are a very bright, very special woman. She responds, the bad stuff is easier to believe. You ever notice that? And unfortunately, that does point out something in the way that we accept words and take them into our heart. The solution? Focus on the positive. Only positive feedback can motivate people to continue doing what they're doing well and to do it with more vigor, determination, and creativity. So just be aware of that. Now, let me give you some tips and tricks for talking positively. Think before you speak. This is the complete opposite of everything that was drilled into our heads when we were in school. Do you remember that when the teacher would ask a question, the kid who shot his or her hand up into the air first and then was called on and had the right answer, that person was perceived, as a winner. And that taught us that we were allowed to blurt out an answer, to just rapid fire out an answer without really giving time to think about the words we were choosing. Instead, think about what you want to say and select your words. Okay, if you've been on the planet more than 20 years, word meanings have changed. Part of this is Michael Jackson, part of it is just words change because of the way people use them. When I was growing up, the meaning of bad meant the opposite of good. But when Michael Jackson sang it in his song, it meant hot, it meant good looking. So bad was suddenly good. Go figure. Now, here's something interesting. Back in 1731, if I used the word cute in a sentence, I meant a shady lawyer. If I use cute in a sentence now, it means somebody who's pretty and youthful. I think one of the interesting ones down here is the one all the way at the bottom. It used to be that geeks were sideshow acts at the carnivals. They bit the heads off of chickens and snakes. Why? I don't know, except somebody was paying them to do it. Now, if you use the term geek, you mean a technical genius. You mean somebody who can help you fix your computer problems. So the word geek has changed 180 degrees. Now you want to be a geek. All right. One of the ladies that I knew when I was growing up said we slide to hell on our butts. And what she meant was this. We often use statements like, I would have gone to church, but I needed to wash my hair. So we often use but, and when we do, we negate everything in front of the word but. So make sure you drop kick but out of your vocabulary. You want to replace it with and, or delete it completely, or make it two separate sentences, but try to get rid of but. Rephrasing whatever you're going to say could delete the sting. We've probably heard this from our own bosses, or maybe we said it to somebody on our team. You should have spoken with marketing communications first before you released that statement to the press. We could have said it slightly differently and communicated the same message. In the future, you should speak with marketing communications to avoid that situation. Example number 2. How many times have you gone to somebody in the office, presented an idea, and had the person snap at you? I don't have time for this right now. We might feel that this person doesn't value us or doesn't value the project and walk away thinking maybe we're not as good as somebody else. If the other person, or if we had rephrased this statement, if we had said, to be respectful of your time, could we meet tomorrow at 10 to discuss this? It's a much nicer way of saying, I can't do it right now, but here's a great time when we could meet. Number 3, the negative. This is a ubiquitous question out there. Everybody's probably said it. Does that make sense? The listener may wonder if you doubt your own ideas. So let's replace that. Instead, ask your listener, do you have any thoughts or questions? You're asking for feedback and encouraging them to engage with you. You have a number of different ways right now that you can develop new communication habits. You can record yourself on your phone or on a Zoom call, play it back, and analyze what you're saying. How many times did you use negative statements? How could you rewrite those negative statements so that they're a little more positive? What can you do to practice these skills over and over again? Actively listen to how others speak. How would you turn their negative language into positive statements? Yes, you can be editing while you're listening. So we have finished. Does anybody have any questions about communicating with kindness?
Thank you, Kathy. You're very funny.
Thank you. Yes, there are people in my family who still say you're extinct. It's a huge put down.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, absolutely. It seems to be a very genuine message.
I really enjoyed your presentation. I think you have a really excellent way of communicating, how to change your thoughts with your words. Like you just did an excellent demonstration of when you say, whatever the last one that you just said, excuse me, I don't know why I'm spacing it out, but changing the words to, something more positive is so subtle, but so powerful. And it does make people feel very different when you hear them. Right. So I really like that. And I love your voice, the way that you speak.
Thank you.
But my question is, actually, I really struggle with when people disappoint me and when they say things to me that I actually want to have a different outcome. And sometimes I find myself frozen. Like somebody has said something to me and they're like, and that's the way it is. And I'm like, wait a minute, you didn't just communicate with me. You just gave me something, So it's, how do I pause myself in that moment, find myself, and then ground myself and speak? Like it's an easy way to lose yourself. And I think it's common,
It is very common. My suggestion is come up with a catchphrase that you're going to use in every single situation. Thank you for this time to discuss these ideas. That's going to give you time to think about what it is you actually want to say. Okay. If that catchphrase becomes so automatic that you don't have to think about it, you're actually framing the paragraph that you're trying to give. And the way that I would look at this is, because I've been shut down before, so I understand.
Yeah. Well, and once it happens, it's almost like stigmatizing, because I can see myself how I do this in so many different situations, and I want to beat this beast. I do not want it to rule me. The fear. Yeah,
I understand. So then what you want to do is create a few sentences. And those sentences would be things like, I brought these ideas today to see what we can do to improve operations or improve the environment of our situation here. I respect your time that you have taken to listen to me. Now let's see what we can do to move forward together and see if this person will come back to you with a more open mind instead of, don't want to talk about it right now. So these are techniques that I want you to practice, but I want you to practice using the words that trippingly roll off of your tongue, not mine. So you may want to take what I just gave you and edit it to sound more like you, to be in your voice.
Thank you for that. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. You also commented on my voice. Thank you very much for saying that. I've actually been a professional singer for quite some time and sang opera. As a freshman, I sang in the senior opera production at UCLA. So I do have a very melodic voice, but I have used it and I have trained it as a public speaker to eliminate those ums, ahs, ers, like that everybody inserts. And the way that I did this was, you know, that little clicker that you can use to train a dog? You can use it to train a cat if you have a lot of patience, but you know, click, click, right? So what I did was I partnered up with a friend. She held the clicker and I would speak about would be the migrating birds. And she would click that thing every time I had a verbal spacer.
Ooh.
I would do the same thing for her. And over time, both of us developed a communication style, where we didn't have those spacers, which makes you sound much more polished, much more professional. So that's the technique.
Well, what I notice about your ability to speak and give information is that it's easy to listen to you, which makes it easy for me to hear and understand. Yeah, that's a gift.
It is a gift. I'm very grateful that I have had people around me who were incredible speakers. And so I grew up listening to folks who could take English and weave the most beautiful tapestries out of it. I enjoy that.
I just wanted to, with all the compliments, of course, I just wanted, I love that. You know, English is a second language for me. So I do struggle with all the, yeah, you know, all the filler words. I just did it. and it's something that I want to grow. It's something that, especially when I'm presenting my my elevator pitch for my business, I want to make sure that it's to the point, that it's clear, and that it's inspiring, and all the different aspects of creating a good short 30-second elevator speech. And I think it's so important to be mindful of people's time, to be mindful of how you portray yourself, because you want to take advantage of every opportunity that you have, whether it's in an elevator. Well, in today's world with COVID, where not a lot of us are getting on an elevator, but we do have the chance, for instance, here to introduce ourselves and let others know what we do with our business, and and how to do it well. And so any tools, any tips that we can get from you, we really appreciate you, Kathy. You know, I was just thinking about reviews. When you get a business review, how do you manage that? How are the rules? And I was just sharing a link, and this is a link I share with. I probably have shared this link with hundreds of business owners.
The elevator pitch is a 30 to 45 second. So for instance, for somebody who had graduated with his degree in environmental science from a very famous university, I think it was Yale at the time, I created an elevator pitch for him because he was looking for a new job. So I told him, okay, here's what we're going to do. and I'm going to make up his name because I can't remember what it was. Hi, my name is Ken Brown. I'm a graduate of Yale University with a bachelor's degree in environmental health and safety. My job is to go out there and protect the birdies and protect the people. I'd like to meet with you about any job opportunities that you have at your company that I could fulfill. And so it was a very quick way to do it. When we used a very standard third line, which is, I help you protect your property and the people who work there, we found that we didn't get as much response. But the minute we changed it up to the humorous, I protect the birdies, he suddenly had job interviews at the Yazoo. It was amazing. But that's what an elevator pitch is. So Emma, your review, was it a positive or a negative?
Thank you. Yes, it's a positive. And so if you go through this, and this is through Yelp, and honestly, this applies to Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all of your business pages that you manage. And it kind of has, it's important to stick to these four steps. And and you want to stick to everything that is positive. You absolutely never want to let your nephew manage your social media page, because what he's going to do, or your niece, because what they're going to, what family members are going to do, if you're the business owner, you get a bad review, your family is going to leap to defend you personally as a person. They're not necessarily going to think, oh, I need to defend the business. How can we protect the business? And so it's really important that if you do have relatives who are managing your social media accounts, that you take this into consideration and that you train them. And so according to Yelp, and this works pretty well and it makes sense to me, is start by thanking the reviewer for providing feedback about their experience. Thank you for your feedback. We appreciate your feedback. And then at the top of this article, you'll see that you want to respond immediately. You don't want to wait. You don't want to delay, whether it's a good review or it's a bad review.
Correct.
And you want to highlight something positive that they said in the review. Address any concerns or share your business philosophy. And the business philosophy can mean policy. For instance, you can address this by saying, to ensure that our food is fresh for you. And then finally, inviting them, we hope that you can visit us again. The purpose of this is that you want to have a relationship with your customer. And the way that you respond to this review is going to reflect greatly on the type of business that you are. Other potential customers are going to see you're professional, you care about your customers, you care about your product and your service. There might be a Yelp page for your business. You might not even know that it even exists. So you want to go there and find out how to claim it. You can manage it so that you can be the administrator.
Yes, and Emma, I would piggyback on that. I would make the response actually as few words as possible. If it's a positive review, thank you so much. We appreciate you coming in and loving what we do. We'd love to see you come back. And please bring your friends and family for a positive review. For a negative, thank you for taking the time to write to us. We're sorry that you did not have the best experience possible, which is what we try to give our customers. We are going to private message you if that is a possibility within the format that you're doing. And in that private message, if you can do it, I would offer the person a coupon or some sort of freebie. Come back in, get a free coffee if you buy a cookie, something like that. That allows them to come back and try you again. But here's my suggestion. If you're responding to a negative review, use as few words as possible. Treat it like you're in court and you're being grilled by opposing counsel. So if the opposing attorney says, "What color is the sky?" your answer is blue. You're not going to say clouds. You're not going to say it's sunny today. You're not going to say it's cloudy and overcast. You're going to say blue. Boom. If the attorney wants to ask something more, they will. But the more information, like we abide by the health code laws, that you put into a response like this, the more they have, the other person who doesn't like you has an opportunity to respond negatively to that. Well, I don't believe you use the health code rules, blah, blah, blah. So you want to say as little as possible. Give them something positive and get out of that conversation, but show that you did respond. And if it's something that you can correct, one of the coffee shops I worked with was told that the coffee had a very strange flavor. In her response, she said, "Oh, thank you for bringing that to our attention. We did a thorough cleaning of the espresso machine, took it completely apart, did the once a month cleaning 2 weeks early. Please come back. Here's a coupon for a free espresso." So she was able to show that she had taken action to handle that particular situation. One of the things that I trained myself to do when I was first starting to either do phone sales or to do webinars like this, I put a mirror on the far side of my computer so that the entire time I'm talking, I'm looking in the mirror. And when I look in the mirror, I smile. When I smile, the curves of my lips go up, duh. But what it does is that it pulls up the muscles in the throat. In that position, the voice sounds more positive, happier, more engaging. So until you get used to smiling at that blank wall across the room,
wrinkles on their face will shape in a way that it will make them look like they're smiling instead of making them look old.
we all need more smiles. It actually takes more muscles to smile than it does to frown, but it keeps your face in better shape.
There's a really good song about that. Actually, Charlie Chaplin wrote, and it's called "Smile."
Yeah.
You know that song, and I love that song. Actually, sometimes I listen to it on repeat for, I don't know, an hour. But it's like you have to smile through everything,
Right.
and you'll find that life, will change. So
Absolutely. And our smiles actually encourage other people to smile back at us. There's an interesting phenomenon that whatever expression we have on our faces, the person on the other end of the Zoom call or across the desk will almost always mirror what we're doing.
I love that.
Thank you. Thank you. You're also more likely to get a yes out of them.
It also works well when you're proposing for marriage.
I do have one more question that I'm just thinking of. If there's a persuasive, technique that you have. I actually intend to do a GoFundMe campaign very soon, and I really want to communicate, persuasiveness. But yeah, I want to give, the energy of, come and join what I'm doing, and so the best way to ask somebody to join what you do to help create your idea, bringing it to life, is there a technique that you know?
Absolutely. The first thing you need to do, Anna, before you start the GoFundMe or any of the crowdfunding campaigns, is you need to be active on your website and social media for 3 to 4 months ahead of time. And what you want to be doing is giving information. So I'm going to make this up out of thin air, so don't shoot me, but here we go. So let's say you're trying to raise money for a USDA licensed facility that takes in lions and tigers that have been in private ownership here in the United States and can't be released to the wild because they don't know how to hunt. And the zoos won't take them in because they don't want to inadvertently put the new animal in with an animal they have and discover that they're having a reenactment of the Ozarks, if you get my drift. So they won't take in animals that have been in private ownership. So let's say that's what you're raising money for. You want to start a website about what the problem is. So the problem is that we have more lions in captivity in the Dallas Metroplex than we have free on the plains of Africa. Scary number, folks. So what you're doing is you're educating people about the issue on your blog, which is on your website, as well as whether you're on Facebook or LinkedIn or Instagram. You're putting up content on a weekly basis that educates people and entertains them about this issue. And about every fifth article, you pop in there, by the way, September 15th, we're starting a fundraising campaign. So get out that piggy bank and be ready to contribute. Here's why there's such a need. If you build that kind of momentum and enthusiasm before you launch the GoFundMe or any of the crowdfunding platforms, you're actually going to get quite a bit of your money in that first week. If you do get quite a bit of your goal money, and let's say your goal is $10,000, usually if you can get 1/3 of that in the first week, the crowdfunding platform that you're on will put you into their newsletter, because that newsletter goes out to scads of people around the world that says, you know, here's our top 5 projects for the week. If you can get into that newsletter, you're going to reach people who don't even know you exist, and you're going to make sales to them that you aren't even aware of their existence before you start. So you're building that momentum before you ever start. You're getting those large donations to come in that first week. So you make it into their e-blast that goes out to their folks, and you're building that campaign that way. Also, look at the crowdfunding platform very, very carefully. If you look at Indiegogo, that's the name of it. Indiegogo, they will give you every dollar you raise, minus their fees. If you look at Kickstarter and you put a goal on there, let's say $10,000, if you raise $9,999, you get exactly 0 because you didn't make your goal. If you make $10,001, you get your money. So be careful about how they distribute that money.
There is a question from Alan here. Is there any recommended reading to learn even more?
I've heard the presentation, but it's definitely, it seems like it covers a pretty broad topic. So I'd like to learn even more about it, because that's something I struggle with as a typical introvert engineer.
I understand, Alan. And always remember, you can come to Emma or to me. We're happy to help you in any way we can. But as to books about improving communications, I would look at any of the Dale Carnegie books. How to Make Friends and Influence People would be number 1, because you're communicating to present ideas and hopefully convince people to come onto your team. Another one that I would look at is The Go-Giver. The original book was by Viknal Young, but it has since come out by 2 men, and I don't remember what their names are. But the book is a sales philosophy book. But what it teaches you is how to go into any situation, listen actively to the client with whom you are, or to whom you're making the presentation, and then respond in ways that make sense to that individual. The Go-Giver philosophy is one where you listen to the client, analyze their needs, provide viable solutions. Instead of the go-getter, which is much more common. The go-getter is, this particular product makes me more commission, so I'm going to sell this product to you whether you want it or not. So look at those 2 books. A couple of other ones that I would look at if you are trying to handle nervousness, put it that way. There's a book called, I think it's called I Can See You Naked. And it's all about picturing your audience as unclothed. And therefore, you're not scared of them because they are completely weaponless. A number of years ago, when my son was in school, a little girl who was in 4th grade had to give a presentation. And she was very, very nervous about it. It was about medieval Europe. So I said to her, I want you to close your eyes for me for a second. She did. I said, I want you to picture in your mind the ugliest girl's bathing suit you've ever seen. And she giggled. I said, I want you to picture the ugliest boy's bathing suit you've ever seen. She giggled again. I said, I want you to put those bathing suits on every single one of your classmates. And when you give that presentation, you're not going to be nervous at all. You might be giggling, but you're not going to be nervous. The teacher in the gifted program overheard my conversation, came up to me later and said, that was the funniest revision of that old standard, picture your audience naked. And she was just tickled. She said, I'm going to use that in the future.
I just wanted to share with everybody that's on the chat how much you helped me attain a 5-star rating on my flower shop when we started it. She was instrumental in helping me build a flower business from $500 that I had in my pocket. And my business in 3 years went from a little bitty shed, and then I was able to move into a really cute little shop. And with her assistance, it was phenomenal help. And I just want to tell anybody that needs help with their business, or would like, just to have somebody to support you, Kathy is amazing in this way. And I miss her so much. We used to live in the same town, and now we live thousands of miles apart, and it just kills me that I can't see her every day. But I just wanted to share that with everybody, because you were truly an inspiration and extremely helpful in guiding me in unknown waters and through experiences that were a little bit tricky at times and very trying. So I just wanted to share that with everybody. So, and I'm hoping to work with her again on a new endeavor, and
Yes.
that we can get this up and rolling, and just grateful for you. And love
Thank you, Dawn. That was so sweet of you.
Oh. So that was it. And great presentation too.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah,
You're
yeah, you've
welcome.
heard me quite a number of times, because I used to give talks like this in Northern Arizona. So Dawn managed to sit through maybe 10, 15 of those. She didn't fall asleep once. So I was thrilled.
No, they were always very entertaining. So
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Thank you, Dawn, for sharing your
That is
story. We absolutely
No, no.
love Kathy. Always learning new things from her, and we're just so grateful to be this big team, throughout the county. And by the way, in case you guys are wondering, if you live in Washington County or your business is in Washington County and you need help with your business you can contact any of us from the Business Recovery Center. We have 4 centers. And one is in Tualatin, where Kathy is, and she's got a couple other support teammates as well, and Beaverton and Hillsborough and Forest Grove through Adelante Mujeres. And so, and don't feel bad if you go to one for one thing and another for another thing. This is your business. These are your goals that you're trying to achieve, and take advantage. Kathy is a professional writer, She is amazing with all grants, anything related to grants. She knows all about them, even the type that, you know, you have to compete with a few other entrepreneurs. And do take advantage of this. This is a resource that is free and available to you until the end of June. Hopefully we get additional funding from the county, and we can continue, and these services are available to you moving forward.
Emma, ya no entendí si soy Miguel, buenas tardes.
Hola.
Ya no entendí si eras tú la que cantaba ópera o Katy.
The joke around the office is this, is that most people have an idea I might be a soprano because of the pitch at which my voice is. It's when I see a spider that they're absolutely and totally convinced I'm a first soprano, because I can hit the note that shatters glass.
I believe it, Kathy. I think all of us can. We all have our little phobias. We're so grateful for all of you to have joined us, and we do invite you for next Tuesday. We will be hosting the Small Business Administration Portland District for an opportunity to interrogate the SBA on all the various questions.
Interrogate's a good word.
Yeah, the questions that you might not be able to get on their online. So we started last June in 2020, and we'll continue until the end of this June. June 1st will be our last info session.
June 1st, last info session. June 30th is the last day of the program, unless we get more funding.
Correct, yes. We do see some promising decisions being made through the new stimulus. And so we also want to hear from you. We want to hear what you need to grow your business. We have a survey through the Beaverton BRC. There's also a survey through the county. There's also a survey through the Tualatin Chamber. And so we want to know what you need. This year, we did a survey this last month, and we had about 130 response. And everyone, the most popular topic is marketing. And as you know, Kathy is an expert at marketing. And so if you want to know how to manage your social media account, you want to know how to create content, we do invite you to check out the Washington County BRC YouTube channel. So you go to YouTube channel and you type Washington County BRC, and you should be able to have access to a 5-week series, and it's called Social Media for the Intimidated. We recorded that this last year, and it's still up to date, and it has a lot of really valuable information from how to create content, how to publish it, all the way until, you know, to the process of having a successful outcome for your business.
Thank you so much to everybody for coming today. I appreciate you spending time with me. Alan, if you want to learn more about public speaking, let me know. Take care.
I sure will. Thank you so much.
Gracias.